Hi everyone! Today I'm going to unbox a new power supply. It's a Keithley, a 2280S-60-3. It's a 60 volts power supply with a maximum output current of 3 amps. And it's a pretty special power supply. It has some special capabilities. Specifically speaking, the measurements it displays in terms of voltage and currents are equivalent in terms of precision to a 6.5 digit multimeter. So it's not the typical precision we have on normal power supplies. It's a pretty unique instrument, and I will be very happy to describe the accessories that come with the unit, and I will also give you my first impressions. And are you ready? I hope so. Let's go. This power supply being a linear power supply, it's obviously a bit heavy. The package is pretty large. It's larger than the Keithley DMM6500 multimeter I unboxed yesterday. So I will see actually if it is just padding material that account for the difference in terms of dimension, or if the power supply itself is actually bigger. I'm being very careful here when I do the opening not to damage anything with the scissors. Okay, so it's a box in a box. Okay, we have a top box that has all the accessories. So I have one Ethernet cable like this. I have the AC power supply cord. I have what looks like to be some grounding equipment, I guess, from the cover. Pretty sure it's to cover the ground. And I have some papers. Let's put that away. So the paperwork that comes with the unit is a quick start guide and user license agreement, and possibly a calibration certificate, unless it's in the unit. Yeah, no, that's just the end user license agreement. They don't ask me to sign it, so I'm not sure they can enforce it. Can they? I'm not sure. Anyway. Let's get the box out of the way. So it's definitely very well packaged, which is very good because I'm pretty sure it comes from all over the world. But clearly I don't believe it will be damaged in any way during transportation, which is good. So that's the front of the unit. And on the other side, we have the back. Whoops, sorry for that. It's definitely heavier than the multimeter, which is expected. The dimensions, however, don't seem to be very much bigger. I have the calibration certificate again, which is always good to have. Calibration date is October 30, so a bit less than a month ago, which is good. It's always difficult to open these things. I'm going to sit for that. Now that the back is exposed, I can simply slide the condom out of the power supply. Okay. Very nice user interface. It definitely reminds me of the user interface of the Keithley multimeter. On the back, pretty standard stuff. So we have the output with the sense wires, so that's good. It probably supports remote sensing. We have the GPIB interface built in, which is different from some other instruments which require an option. This is a base unit. I didn't purchase any option. We have digital IOs, Ethernet, USB, the main voltage selection switch with a reminder to check it. It's a bit unfortunate that this cap doesn't stick. I mean, you have to remove it and discard it. I wish it could, for instance, fall or something like that. That's fine. I'm going to move the camera, wire the unit, and we will do some very basic testing in a moment. The power supply is now connected to mains power, and I am going to turn it on and see what happens. Before we do that, just a small correction. This piece of green plastic is actually part of the rear panel connectors. It's used to shield the rear panel connector, and also it has a cable clamp. With that being said, let's turn on the power supply. Okay, the power supply took approximately 12 seconds to boot. It's definitely reasonably fast. There is a noticeable fan noise, nothing excessive, but it's definitely there. I really like the backlit buttons. I think it's a nice touch, especially for environments where the amount of ambient light is not that high, and it's definitely very nice looking. I notice a similarity in the layout of the buttons with my DMM6500 above. For instance, on the left we have the home and menu button, which are accessing some of the features, and on the right we have the enter buttons, the exit button, and the trigger button. We have the outputs on the front. I wish it would have the sense wires on the front too. The reason for that, it's supposed to be a precision power supply. And I wish we would have an arrangement a bit like that, where the sense wire could be used on the front, and we could have some bridges to bridge them if we don't want to have remote sensing. So that would have been a really nice upgrade. I'm a bit disappointed it's not that way, but it's okay, it's not a big deal. Operation is very easy. We have the typical on-off button. We can change the voltage, for instance. Let's say I want 10 volts. Then I do enter, I have 10 volts at the output. If I want to change the current limit, I can set up, for instance, 254 milliamps, so that would actually be 0.264, and then enter. Operation, as you can see, is very simple. We can immediately see that the number of digits on the screen is very high, and that's not typical for a power supply. And that's actually one of the reasons why I bought that power supply, that specific one. Most of the time, for what I personally do, I connect something to power supply and I want to measure the consumption. And I could absolutely use the multimeter in series, for instance, to measure the current, but that essentially uses another instrument. It requires another instrument, and since I do that very often, I thought it would be a good idea to have a power supply that integrates these measurement capabilities. So, good idea here. Power supply is definitely a bit more expensive because of that, but my very first power supply I bought more than a decade ago when I was still a student, it was a very cheap power supply. I kind of regret it. So now that I have the capability to purchase an instrument which is a bit more precise and evolved, I'm definitely happy to do that. If we take a quick look at the menu, we immediately see that the user interface is as responsive as the DMM6500. In fact, the layout of the menu is very similar. So I would suspect that they use a similar operating system. It's most likely not exactly the same because the screen size is a bit different, the layout is a bit different, the size of the unit is a bit different on the back, but clearly it seems like they have reused some of the software component. Unlike the DMM6500, which has a touchscreen, this power supply does not have a touchscreen. So you have to navigate using the knob here on the right. It's a bit disappointing, to be honest, because they have the technology, they have the parts, they have the operating system that supports it. I wish they would simply use the same type of user interface from A to Z, so including the touchscreen, but it's not a big deal. After all, it's just a power supply. So part of the measurement capability of that power supply, and the reason why it has such a nice screen, is that you can do some graphing on the voltage, for instance, and on the output. So that's pretty convenient. It can do some statistics also, a bunch of advanced features. So that's pretty interesting. The on-off button, yeah, it's very similar. So what I'm going to do now, just for fun, I'm going to connect the output of the power supply to the input of the Keithley multimeter. Obviously, they have just been calibrated a few weeks ago, so I don't expect to see any significant difference, but it's always interesting to see if the instrument lives up to what it's supposed to do. So let's do that. Everything looks fine, so let's turn it on. Yep, 10.000. 4 or 5 and 3 and 4, so the instruments are definitely extremely close. That's a really good sign. Part of the difference could also be the wires. I'm not using remote sensing. The multimeter technically, well, it's a 10 megohm resistant input impedance, but still there's a very, very low current going there, so that could account for part of the difference. Probably not all the difference, but part of it, so that's good to know. And in fact, you can see that when I unplug and plug the output back on, I can see the current flowing into the wires changing on the display of the power supply. So it shows you how sensitive that power supply is in terms of its measurement capabilities. It shows you also that there is definitely an effect of the wire resistance on the measurement, and that's why for this power supply, this specific power supply, I really wish they would have put the terminals for the remote sensing on the front, because with such a high precision instrument, you really need remote sensing if you want to take advantage of its full capabilities. So that's something to know. In the future, I might do a box to transport the sense wires to the front. I will see if I need it, but that's definitely something to consider. It's still a very nice instrument, but something to consider. Just a quick note. When I did the review of the multimeter, I said there's a reason why it's a soft on-off button. That's probably for the reference circuitry inside. And here we can clearly see it's a hard button. It's a hardware button. So that's good. When it's off, it's off. Unlike this one, when it's off, it's actually not entirely off. The high number of digits on the screen can be a bit distracting, and you can actually in the menu change the resolution of the display according to your needs. So for instance, for very basic application where you don't need all that precision, you can change it because it can be a bit distracting. Some other features are pretty interesting because it has a graphing capability and can do some data logging and statistics. You can actually control you can set immediate trigger, so it's automatic, or also to move to external trigger or manual trigger. And if you go to manual triggering, it does a measurement every time you press a button. That can actually be pretty convenient because there are situations where you check for an external event, and as soon as this event happens, you want to do a measurement. You just press the button and then it holds the screen. So it's a way to do a hold without having hold function. You just move to manual trigger. The external trigger can be used mostly as part of a test and automation process. I believe, for instance, if you are into production testing, it can be useful, but for most home laboratory, hobbyist use, and even most professional uses, you just let it run all the time and the screen keeps updating. That's good. So for the graph, that's just the normal graphic capability. What's interesting is that you have some statistics on the bottom. You have the mean, standard deviation, peak-to-peak values, minimum and maximum. That's pretty useful because there are situations where you want to see the mean output current, for instance, if you have a pulse load or something like that, and it gives it to you right away. I'm not sure you can see it. It's unfortunately a bit small. I wish it would be a bit bigger, but then we will have less real estate on the screen for the graph. So that's just a balance that we have to have. A quick note, on the screen we have in green on the left, that's the scale for the current, and on the right, that's the scale for the voltage. The trace for the voltage is the blue one that we see moving, and the scale for the current is the green one. And yeah, we just have some noise because we are looking at less than a millivolt. We're actually looking at 0.1 millivolt is 1 div. So again, this power supply extremely sensitive. Based on my experience, this type of power supply is not very common, especially with a 60 volts output voltage and a 3 amps output current, because there are other versions of that power supply which give you a lower voltage and a higher output current. The reason I purchased this combination is that I actually have an Agilent power supply which is 0 to 30 volts up to 5 amps. And this other supply covers most of my needs where I have a lower voltage and high output current. What I wanted is a more universal power supply that I could use either for specialty cases where I need to have a very high precision of the measurement of the output current and voltage, or situations where I want to test, for instance, a switching power supply, which may take, say, up to 48, 56 volts input, and this power supply will allow me to go up to 60 volts on its output. So that's definitely something which is very useful, and it's a really nice addition to my lab. And I really encourage people to think about this when they order power supplies, because we have more and more equipment which can deal with a higher input voltage. And it's a bit unfortunate and frustrating in the past when we have to put different power supplies in series or deal with other arrangements where we can just have one instrument that does it. And 3 amps, it's still plenty. I mean, for most use cases, having a 3 amp maximum output current, it's still a lot. So yeah, for me, it's a good combination, but obviously you have to think about what you do with the power supply and purchase whatever switch you need. There are situations where you need to have a specific, I would say, waveform on the output of the power supply. This is used, for instance, for some type of regulatory testing. And because this is kind of an intelligent power supply, it does have a list function. And that list function allows you to set a certain points at a certain voltage for a certain time. And then you can just let that run at the output. So I'm going to set up, for instance, 4 or 5 different voltages, and we're going to see what happens when I use that. I have configured a list. What I've done is that for 5 seconds, the output voltage is going to be 0, so you can run for cover. And then for 5 seconds, it's going to be 5 volts. Then for 1 second, it's going to be 60 volts. And then for 5 seconds, it's going to be 5 volts. You can also change the current limit, but because this is just for demonstration purposes, I just left the default. If I go to the home screen, then I have a list option here. If I turn it on, I need obviously to select the list that I just created, set the hold time to the time in the list. I want to end with 0 volt output, and if I turn it on, 5 seconds of 0 volts output, then 5 seconds of 5 volts output, then 60 volts for 1 second, and then it quickly goes back to 5 for 5 seconds. And then it goes to 0. We've saw how it works. We have seen some of the features of that unit. We have seen its spatial power, its spatial capabilities, the capability to have a very precise measurement for the output voltage. And finally, we've compared it with the DMM6500. So first impressions, mostly good. Lack of a touchscreen is a bit of a bummer, but not that much of a huge deal. I hope you found that video helpful. If you have any question as to the operation of the instrument, any recommendation, if I did anything wrong, or if I forgot to say anything very important, you're always welcome to put a comment below in the comments. And otherwise, see you next time. Hope you liked it.